Hi.
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome to the wonderful world of Unmaddening. I'm KJ.
And I'm Swali, and this is episode 8 for us now.
8. Lovely.
Wow.
We've got a brand new word of the day, which might get a couple of people's goats up because I'm pretty sure it's something that really annoys a lot of us. But let's see how you feel about it. Our word of the day is streamline. What does streamline mean to you, Swali? Or should we just do the definition and then you can tell me all about how you feel about it? Alrighty. Okay, streamline dictionary definition. Design or provide with a form that presents very little resistance. This is sort of the engineering terminology for it. Or make an organisation or system more efficient and effective by employing faster or simpler working methods. For example, the company streamlined its operations. You've got your synonyms of efficient and smooth running. I'm not sure if anybody else agrees with things that are now currently streamlined as being smooth running.
I just find it very funny that those two lines, like you got streamline as in like the jet was streamlined or your car was streamlined to make it go faster and have less drag and aero efficiency.
Yeah.
And then the streamline that you've got that is more towards what we were talking about, business, with the streamlining processes and policies and stuff like that.
Yes,
and it's quite
indeed.
funny because in business, change management is a big thing.
Yes.
And change management is like, say you've got a policy or a procedure that you're going to implement that's going to happen, and you're there to implement the change management, is to make sure that you get the path of least resistance with these policy changes and processes. And I think it's quite ironic that both of the two sort of go together.
That the first definition says provide a form that presents very little resistance. Yes. When you look it up on your Urban Dictionary, the modern terminology for such a word, the first one is that streamline is the most overused buzzword in business, in fact. With a great example of, like, we've got Bob. I need ideas here, people. Jim says, why don't we streamline things a bit? And then Bob says, you're fired.
Yeah, that's a very generic answer. We'll just streamline it then.
It's pathetic. Another streamline one is a word nerds use to sound like they know what they're talking about. For example, I was going over the specs and concluded that the parameters of this procedure would benefit from a full streamline overhaul. You know what that just made me think of? It's like listening to a Kamala Harris speech. Just like a whole heap of words just all thrown in together.
Venn diagram?
Yeah, the old Venn diagram. Yes, she loves those.
Didn't she say Zen diagram once, though?
There's every chance.
Yeah.
Yes, just extra words. Just makes sense for some reason. Yes, indeed. So, streamline. Streamline, that has been a bit of a maddening for us recently, is the streamline in the checkout. In your old self-checkout, and even just in the checkout in general. So let's talk about what self-checkout is.
I don't know why they've gone to that sort of process, because I mean, that's part of your interaction, isn't it? Of customer service is serving your customers, I would think. You know, like customer service is not pointing them to the computer and telling them check yourself out.
Well, according to the old Googleizer, their purpose is that the primary goal of your self-checkouts is to streamline the checkout process, reduce wait times, and potentially lower labour costs for retailers. And they've actually, in the history of, been around since 1986, from what I could see from checkout machines in Kroger stores in Atlanta. Became pretty popular in the early 2000s, or more popular anyway, and now, like, when you go into the supermarket, those are predominantly the checkouts which are open is do it yourself.
Well, yeah, that's what it used to be. There was a line of those checkout yourself ones if you wanted to be quick and you couldn't be bothered talking or doing that and going through the checkout and wanting to be left alone, you go through that. But if you want to just go through the normal process, you go through the normal process.
I don't think if you went through a regular checkout, you're going to be having a conversation anyway. If you were avoiding having a chat and that's why you were going to do self-checkout, they probably weren't going to talk to you at all. So you'd be right. There's a few where we go to the supermarket that are really lovely, but predominantly they're in there doing their job, just
But they're not doing
slugging
this
along.
customer service all day, every day. So they're sort of getting de-skilled in that matter because they're not having those interactions.
Not having the conversations. The controversy portion in the history of self-checkout states that self-checkout has become a controversial topic among shoppers, with some praising the technology for streamlining the retail experience and others trying to avoid it. It got me thinking about other issues in the supermarkets that might be bothering people. And I typed it in and had a little look at some of the things that popped up in the search. And one of them was some people, particularly in Australia on this feed, that were talking about why do we get asked at the moment to scan all of our large items first? Like you do your shopping and you put it on the conveyor, and I would generally, let's say toilet paper, I'm going to put it at the end because it's lightweight and needs to all go in my trolley.
Yep.
And then I'll just place it on top without having affected any of my very expensive fruits and vegetables. So,
Yeah.
but they will ask you at the beginning of if you have any large items. They want the large items first.
They like the ones that you leave in your trolley.
Yes.
Yep.
And I didn't understand it. I thought maybe it was just an anomaly that was occurring like randomly to me from somebody that was particular about it. But when I looked it up online, this came up as quite a few conversations where this is a thing that they're asking for. They want all the largies, and they may even want you to do it in that large first order if you do your own self-checkout. So some people had reported that they started self-checkouting their groceries, and the attendant, one for 50 people maybe, has come over and actually said to them, I want you to scan that first. And it's supposed to be like a theft reduction thing,
Yeah, I can
which
understand that.
they claim is more of a, you might forget because it's in the bottom of your trolley scenario. But I just find it
might
really
be the
weird
excuse that people play on it when they do try and
when
do
they
the
get caught
wrong
for it,
thing.
yeah. And they
I
shouldn't be
just
doing the
forgot
wrong
about
thing.
it, yeah.
But if I'm actually going down the conveyor belt and not using your streamlined self-checkout, I feel like I should be allowed to put my toilet paper at the end next to any bread products so that they don't get put down the front and then crushed. And I'm not even ready to put it in the trolley yet, and it's massive and it takes up that tiny little section down the bottom where your bagged items end up, and now there's no space left.
I think more they're talking about the heavy
weird.
items that people go, oh, well, I don't have to take them out of my trolley.
No,
Yeah,
it's
you-
not just the
if you had
heavy,
a
because
carton of
it's happened
soft
to
drink,
me
you used
with
to pull a
toilet
carton of soft
paper.
drink out of your trolley.
They'll ask you, do you have any large items? And then they should be able to just scan the barcode or tap a button on their screen that says this customer has this large item, this carton of beverage or this toilet paper or whatever it might be. And then they put that through and you don't actually need to lift it out. But in the case of like the toilet paper, I have been asked on numerous occasions that they want it now rather than at the end. I don't understand.
Oh, the thing that gets me is the little cameras above them now that watch you while you're doing your
Over
thing.
your streamlined self-checkouts.
And I've found a way to streamline the self-checkout for myself. So I've got 10 of them. It doesn't allow you to say, I've got 10 of these items.
No.
Put them aside. You've got
No.
to scan them both. So with one hand, I'll scan one, and with the other hand, I'll grab them. But it's picked me up, scanning one, putting it in, scanning one, putting it in over the top.
Yeah.
And said, oh,
And then
you
it
didn't
flags
scan
you.
it. So, yeah.
Yes.
Or if you swap hands, it doesn't like that either.
And now your streamlined process of self-checking out has been stopped because you cannot proceed with the remainder of your shopping until somebody comes over and verifies that you were not being dishonest in your process.
I don't think it is exactly streamlined because they're forcing everyone into, dare I say, like sheep into this one pen. And this is where you go through this thing because you've got the checkouts there that are never open, and you've got these 10 that are working, and everyone's got a full shopping load of. It's not a very easy space to pack your trolley and work around each
it's
other as well.
not.
And I don't think it's that
not.
streamlined. And then you
It's
get
not
people just going,
user-friendly.
oh, well, no, I'll just wait for that one in the corner. And so you're going to stand there like a sheep behind them.
Yeah.
Well,
I did have one when I bought just a few groceries the other day. It still cost $80 for my few groceries the other day. But as I got to the end of scanning my last item and was going to pay for it, I got flagged with I need an attendant to come and verify because it thought that I had something else within my leftover shopping bags that were in the end of the trolley that I hadn't used.
Oh, that's right.
They
yes.
thought they were something.
It was
So
someone
I had
else's
to get
trolley.
an attendant to. Oh, no, not even that one.
That
That
one was
was
a good
one
one.
where the camera picked up the trolley beside us, which was doing its own shopping. But no, after that, you went with me the other day and I grabbed a few things. It thought that my bag of reusable bags was an object which should have been scanned. So I had to wait for the attendant to come and verify that I didn't have an additional item that I hadn't scanned, which she did very promptly, and that was perfectly fine. But yes, it's not very streamlined. I don't mind using it. I just don't appreciate the term used because I think it's not streamlined at all.
No, I think it would be streamlined for those that just want to go through with a couple of items and check themselves out. But
Yeah.
I don't think it's very productive with a shopping load of trolleys.
Well, what about the whole weight factor?
A shopping load of trolleys. A trolley load of
A
shopping.
trolley load of shopping. The weight factor is another one that's really interesting where you've popped your bag down and you put the item in it and it's like you have to get somebody to come and check that the weight of that item is the weight of that item. It doesn't like it, or if it's really tiny, like if it's a lip gloss and you've thrown it into the bag, it doesn't register it because the weight of it is so small that it hasn't been picked up on the scales. And then it's like, well, you didn't put it in the bag. Put it in the bag.
So I went through a checkout, well, probably the other week, a week or two ago maybe, and bought a bag of grapes. Now the bag of grapes was saying that it was
Not a bag? It didn't identify as a bag of grapes.
No, it identified as a bag of grapes. It identified as black grapes. So, so I've just looked at the bag and grabbed it, and it's like $3 something a kilo. Wow, that's a bargain, and I'll grab them. And so I grabbed a bag of those grapes, put them on the thing, and what are they? Black grapes, yep, ticked it, and it was actually the red grapes, and someone had put them in the wrong spot.
Oh,
So
devastated.
I was like, I'm sure that these are this. So she looked it up, and I said, have I scanned it wrong or did something happen? She looked it up and went through it, took it off. And I was like, oh, no, it must have been my mistake. Don't worry about it. I'll just pay for it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
It's a couple of dollars more. I picked the wrong ones up and I didn't check, but oh well. But when she put them back on to scan them, when she scanned them again to check them again, it had gone up 100 grams.
Oh,
Which is a very interesting
that
one.
is interesting.
So,
That's a
like you're
separate
saying,
deep dive.
with your weight, things can
The
change.
weight
very-
efficiency, yeah,
She's
it
going,
is-
oh, well, it's
it is
weighed
interesting.
more than it did last time. So I'll just take the one that I scanned off and you pay for your one.
Oh.
I don't know why it weighed more and
But
cost
she
more. But,
sorted you out. She
Yeah,
could
yeah,
see it
she fixed
herself
it, yeah,
also
yeah.
and
Yeah.
realised that there was a problem there and
was a bit-
helped you. So, good on
a
her.
bit confuzzled by it.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a little bit confronting. You weren't expecting that to happen. And sometimes there are little sneaky things, and sometimes there's just straight up issues,
Yeah, yeah, it must
tech
have got
problems. Yeah. The air was thick with your sadness and madness at the fact that the black grapes that you
wasn't
wanted were
worried too
not the
much.
price that they
They
ought to have
tasted
been.
delicious. I thought, well, you got to look at the positive side of things. I'm sure they're going to taste nice.
It was
and-
humidity.
yeah.
Humidity goes hard.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what spoiled it. The next thing that's excellent regarding streamlining is airport check-ins.
I
How was your last experience
I
at
still
the
can't
old?
do. I still
airport
can't do
check-in?
airport check-ins. Like,
It's
with this
really
streamlined process.
frustrating. With like a supermarket is one thing. Even on a busy day, a busy arvo with so many people, an airport. How many people are in an airport at any given point in time? A lot of people, and you have no staff to help them.
I just don't think it gives you the confidence that you're
Yeah.
going to get your bags back when you just do it, check it out, and you go to that
You're
person
right.
for the confidence so they're going to show you, yep, I'm going to get my bags back, and
Yeah.
they're going to tag them all correctly, and
Yeah, you're spot on. That's actually what I think what it is about it that makes me a little bit nervous as well, is the fact that I'm not communicating with a human being that is associated with the company that I've chosen to fly with, and they are looking me in the eye, and we've had an exchange, and I've given you my personal belongings.
you've paid them to take your bag from there to there.
Yeah, and
you want-
you've now received it, you've tagged it, it's going down the conveyor, and I feel confident in that. Certainly, I can put the tag on my bag myself. That's not an issue, but I feel a little bit yuck when I am the one that just goes and puts
And I
it on
think
the
it's a
conveyor.
streamlined process because you can't find anyone to help you. Like if you're going to chuck it on and it decides no, I don't want to take your ticket, or I don't want to help you today.
Yeah.
Because the machines do that sometimes. Mm-hmm. And it's just very frustrating. You look around, there's no
Well, now
one
you're
around.
worried.
Now you
Is
gotta
your bag
hunt.
associated with your ticket? Is it actually even
gotta-
associated with you? What's going
You
on?
got to go around, hunt for someone to try and find and help
Yeah,
you.
and the few that are there are
there's
inundated
one
with
person
other
or two
customers
people
that
that are
need
inundated,
help.
and they're not very patient because they've got
They've
everyone to.
probably been on shift for a very long time, and they've been dealing with person after person that is having these same issues with that streamlined process. It's just it's not very nice. And they also have baggage weight dramas.
I wish they would streamline security checkpoint, though. That would be helpful.
No, they like for that one for you to remove every article of clothing and every piercing and put your socks on your ears, and then you're
belt,
allowed to
take your
walk
me-
through
take your
with
shoes
your
off and-
hands beside you. Then and only then may you enter the aircraft. But as
But
we
that's where
learned
you
recently, you
learn
can
to-
still get on the plane if you just
that's-
break through the gate from the side.
Oh well, yeah. But I think that's where you learn to streamline your own processes and go right. So I'm going to the
Yes.
airport, no belt, no this, no that, no that.
You put it all in your bag, and then you check your own bag in and hope you pick up your bag at
Does
the
the
other
jacket have metal
side.
buttons? They're gonna. Oh no, not good. Or wear the plastic zip one, and
You have plastic zip ones. That's a full process. Oh, my goodness.
you got to think about these things.
All right, we've got one more point of streamlining, and it's streamlining communication, text messages, emojis, thoughts.
Oh, my
Hit me, Swiley.
No, you go with this one. I've got no thoughts whatsoever. I'm gonna.
Obviously, you have a lot of
I've-
thoughts,
I've-
but you just don't want to be mad about them.
No, I've been using emojis too long, and my thoughts are broken.
What's the emoji for that? Like a question mark over the face, or like
I
a
don't know.
thinking face? Like, yes, maybe that's
It's
what it is.
the dopey face. Ooh.
Well, it's
surprise
I mean,
face, I
I'm not
don't
even
know.
going to say that they invented it because they wanted to streamline communication, but it is a manner in which people do streamline communication, either via emojis or like shorthand things like your LOLs and such. It's not really that hard to have written the full words. Just saying.
Yeah.
I tend to only use them
Well,
ironically
I can't
in
remember
that
there was
short
one,
form.
and it just leaves out one letter. Just why? Why it's one letter? Just write
Because it's streamlined. Every moment is critical. We've got to save time here. Why type the word facepalm if you could just put a picture of the facepalm and just quietly every time I
gotta
want to
admit,
put the
I have
facepalm
used
emoji,
them
I
before,
still
and
type
we-
facepalm to bring the picture up. So I've literally written the exact same thing. I just like the emoji.
it.
I
So you
feel
type
the-
facepalm and
I
then
do. I type facepalm to bring up the image so I can tap on that and go, yes,
Is
that's
that just
what
to
I was
explain
feeling.
to make sure that it's not associated with anything else? Just so you know that this is a facepalm.
Maybe. Yes, there's a few articles where it's like emojis versus hieroglyphics, and hieroglyphics having told a story, and emojis are telling a very different story. If you look through the list of which ones are available, there's not really a complete story of a healthy society to be told in those emojis which you find in the available
It is quite
lists.
funny though, like the younger children that we have in our life, and even our kids have done it when they were younger as well, is typing out the full emoji messages.
Oh, yeah, because they're sweet little pictures.
Yeah.
I love it. So
Picture,
yeah,
picture,
sometimes
picture.
from some
What
of
is
the
this? Well, this is a
sweet young
dog and a
people in our
horse and
lives,
a-
if they're sending us a message or a birthday message or something, there's 100 emojis at the end of it. Love hearts and fishes and all sorts of things that little kids think are cute and cool.
It's quite funny when you go, well, explain to me, well, that's a dog, and then there's 2 hearts because I love dogs, and that's a horse. There's 3 hearts because I love horses more than I love dogs.
Yes.
And there's a rainbow because the horse was going under the rainbow, and there's a whole story.
They have thought it out. So maybe for the littlest of our kind that are using tech in these ways when they get access to their parents' phones or devices, they are using it in the form of hieroglyphics to tell a story, a story that they have just invented in that moment, and that's delightful. I have seen recently on I think it was the AFP, the Australian Federal Police, they had shared an article about red and green flags to do with emojis, and it was that there were so many that are used by creepos and also by young people to sort of alert, like, I'm doing something I shouldn't be doing on the internet, and I'll throw this emoji out, and the emoji is to the other party to say, oh, my parents are nearby, so let's not be talking about what we were just talking about. And there are creepo ones as well of predatory, emojis have certainly not been used in the same way as hieroglyphics were.
I think it's very important that, I mean,
used.
as much as I say, I dislike using emojis and I'll use the occasional ones, but I get tired of trying to work out what the acronyms and
what the secret code is for what someone else thinks it means. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, what does that mean? I said it too.
I've had that one recently with EJ, where I've done I'm doing it with my hand right now, what I consider to be the OK symbol, which I might use as like, yeah, that's cool, that's really awesome, I like that. Apparently that means something as well. They've all been modified and spoiled to have these nasty alternate meanings.
As much as we might dislike them or not use them, I suppose we've got to stay in tune and up to date with it.
You do need to stay current.
And how to look after
and that
protect your
AFP
children.
thing did remind me, like, there is a lot of that's happening, and yeah, you don't need to be in the world and be utilising them, but you should have the knowledge to be able to protect your young'uns. All right, let's slide into vintage culture appreciation.
What have you got for vintage culture appreciation there?
I have, based on our recent conversations, we're going to talk about the Discman.
The Discman?
Yeah.
Is it a man the shape of a disc?
Probably today it could be, but it wasn't.
I know what it
at
is.
the time.
Yes.
Discman was really cool. We've talked about cassettes recently, and now we've upgraded.
I don't think the Discman did as well as the Walkman.
No.
There's no way. I mean, you can't run around with it. It skips all the time. And
if you had a really expensive one that had like shock control or something,
it was,
you could
shock. That
you
was
could
after
move
the fact
with
when they brought the first ones out.
Yeah.
It was sort of something that you sort of had to sit, or you had to place somewhere nicely and then put your headphones
attach
in.
it to your belt and not move or something. Yes, perhaps. I really liked
We
when
used to hide them at school in the class with the
Discmans.
well, not Discmans or Walkmans or whatever it is. You could listen to music while you're in class and you're doing something like that. But it was like, I suppose, like kids with phones. You weren't allowed to have them.
Yeah.
You allowed to have them, but we used to, put your jumper over your head and tuck your cord up behind you.
And headphones were big then too. There was no ear pod things or anything.
But they still had the
there
cord.
were earbuds, yeah.
But I do remember that. But to think that they didn't know you had it, because you're changing songs, or you like that song, you go back and hear click, 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 zzz, click, click, click.
Have you seen how that's all come full circle again? In the same way that sort of every 20 years fashion recycles and you get your bell bottoms back and your thises and that just resurface. The same thing happened with headphones, which I always find really funny. Like when I was small, headphones were things that you wore over your head with coverage over your ears to hear with. Yeah. And then they became the ones you were just mentioning, which were just poking into your ear with your little cord, like a little earbud kind of style. And then somebody decided that some celebrity said, oh, this is how you should listen to music. And everybody now wants to walk around with the largest headphones they possibly can to be like, I'm listening to music. Look how cool I am that I listen to music with these monstrous headphones. But they do have the alternate, which is your secret one. Which
Bluetooth earbuds.
That's what I was just going to say. Those Bluetooth ones remind me of the ridiculous ones that the people used to wear. The piece that sits over the outside of the ear, not on the inside of the ear.
I did have one of them because I was in the car and I was on the road all the time, and that was something that,
I'm sure there were certain businesses where they were relevant.
But people would just walk down the street
just wearing it over their ear, like because I'm cool.
Accessory.
Exactly, yeah. It's crazy how things go up
Before
and down.
Before you walk out the door, put on your Bluetooth earpiece.
One day it was cool for it to be tiny, and the next day it was cool to be large as life. You can't keep up with that.
Phones went that same way as well. They were massive when the mobile phones, they were massive when they first came out.
Yep.
Then we try to make them smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller.
And they did it successfully.
I've been with iPhone for a bit, and I liked the iPhone 4 or whatever it was. It was quite small and compact, fits in your pocket. You didn't even know it now, but now with the phones, they're getting bigger and bigger
They
and
make 'em
bigger
bigger.
again.
And it's actually more difficult to find one that is the little size that you're chasing. Some of them look like half an iPad stuck to the side of your face.
I do appreciate them now as my eyes are starting to get a bit older and a bit tired. Like the bigger screen,
fair
better fun.
enough.
Next week I'll be with an iPad against my ear so I can see what I'm dialing.
One more little point before we close out here on the discmans and the CDs in general. Recently, we had a little hiccup with the car stereo where the CD wouldn't go in. The CD player just decided I will no longer accept this CD. It just wouldn't do it. Thankfully, Smiley has fixed it. So well done, Smiley. Great job.
Unfortunately, I had to Google it.
Yeah. But in that interim where we were unsure if it was going to be fixed and we were having a little look around to see what could that be replaced with, I didn't want to just be forced into a box where you cannot have a CD player. You must just have this big screen and you can only use Bluetooth to play music and you can only use your phone to do maps and whatever. I don't want that. Don't tell me that's what I have to have. I want to be able to play my CDs. Like, I've got a vast collection of them. I want to play them if I want to play them. I don't play them very often. We don't use them very often unless we're doing like a big trip or something.
Yeah.
But I don't want you to steal that away from me, that option. It was really difficult to find something.
As soon as you get something that either has Apple CarPlay or Android Auto,
yeah,
you no longer have a CD player. So you can't have that multiple functionality now. And even new cars now, there's not very many manufacturers that are coming out with CD players in the car because apparently that's the way that things have changed and that's the way it wants to go. So
and I do, like, I get it. I get
hold
that.
on to your vintage CD players.
Yes. Your CD players and your DVD players, and we'll talk about DVDs another day. That's a cool story.
But that was one of the options they were saying. You can plug it in like a Discman into.
Yeah.
You're going to find one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. No, thank you. Anyway,
I remember
Discmans
doing
were
that.
really cool.
I remember plugging a Discman into my cassette player.
Yes, I was just going to say, I did have the same thing. My car was not modern enough to have a CD player. It still had the cassette player. So I had a Discman and I'd put this, put the CD in the Discman and then you plug the Discman into a cable that connects to a cassette, which allows it to play through the
Every
stereo
time you
in
go
the car.
over a speed bump, skip.
Yeah. Yes.
Pothole
Because
skip.
Rest assured, I did not have the cool shocky one that would deal with stuff like that in the car. But yeah, they were awesome. Take me back.
We're
None of
talking
this
about taking
techie
us back.
stuff.
We'll be back next week.
Yes,
I think
indeed.
We're running to a bit of an end of time here.
That was fun. It's
Very
always fun.
Always fun.
Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time. Until then, God bless and peace out.
Bye. This content is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional advice. We are not check out our parents, flight attendants, pastors or politicians. You are not more likely to suck less or try harder having listened to these shenanigans.